Now I want to discuss the Petrov defense. The Petrov defense is a king's pawn opening. It starts off by e4, e5, so it's a symmetrical king's pawn opening. White plays knight f3, and then I've discussed before to where the most common move for black is actually knight to c6, which can lead to the Italian opening, the Roy Lopez, among others. So, but here, black plays knight to f6, and you have to ask yourself, why did black play knight to f6? Well, this instead of maybe I should say, when black plays knight to c6, it's actually defending this pawn because this knight is attacking it. So it's like a defensive move, but you're developing a piece. Well, the idea behind knight f6 is actually counterattack. So basically says you're going to attack and I'm going to counterattack. And that's the philosophy behind the Petrov, and it offers both sides a good attacking opportunities. And black, you will usually get sort of a better placed knight, which is in the center. So let's just look at maybe how the Petrov can look. And this is just two of many sort of variations. So I'm just going along. These variations tend to be the most common. So the first one is white will now take the pawn on e5, and then black will play d6. Now the knight has to move, so it moves back to f3. And now black takes the pawn on e4. So white and black have sort of both traded off pawns, or the e-pawns. Now white will play d4, because that's, like I said in the king's pawn opening, that's one of the goals for white is to play d4. Now black will play d5. I'm getting its pawn in the center, and also helping to protect the knight. White will play bishop to d3, attacking the knight, and developing a piece, and preparing the castle. And now we're going to look at the variation where black plays knight to c6. And now white castles. Black plays bishop to e7, basically preparing the castle, and also sort of stopping, if you look at it, if white was the move, it's rook over. You would have a clear shot at the king, so it's the bishop does a couple things, sort of blocks this file, prepares castling, and also this knight here could also have moved to this square, but now that's not possible, because before the queen was only protecting the square. Now white can't move the knight there, so white will now play c4. Black will probably play knight to b4, sort of putting the question to this bishop. White will move the bishop, black will castle. So that's just one of the lines. Let's just back up a few moves to black's sixth move. So instead of playing knight to c6, let's say on the sixth move black plays bishop to d6. Well, this line normally continues. Both sides will castle, getting their kings into safety. White will play c4, like it did in the other line. Sort of basically trying to undermine the defense of this pawn, which is, protecting the knight here. Because black can't take or would lose the knight. So now black plays c6, so if white decides to take, it just retakes and the knight is still protected on e4. Remember I said how black ends up with a sort of a nice placed knight in the center. Notice how this black knight is still in the center. Rook to e1, bishop to f5, protecting the knight. Queen to c2, attacking the knight again, and bishop to g6. The bishop one needs to fall back to a point where it's protected, because on f4 was unprotected. So that is sort of the Petrov, the basics of the Petrov defense.